Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm playing Random Fish, an engine that randomly plays one of the top 3 engine moves. A big thank you to Felix for leaving a comment with this idea. My goal is to win one game. Let's get started with game number 1. Alright, game number 1, I am extremely confident that I have already figured out how to win this, so much so that I'm going to play e4 even though I only ever played the London system. We are in fact met with pawn to c5, and I'm not going to know whether or not this is the first, second, or third best move. I'm just going to know that it's randomly one of them. However, I think that if I can just make a whole bunch of fair trades, I can eventually force the engine to give me free material. Say for instance that I don't know, have a bishop on b5 and the engine plays knight to c6. If I were to take, the top 2 engine moves would be to take back with this pawn or with this pawn. But the third best engine move is whatever, and I would just get to keep the extra bishop, or rather the extra knight. And even better, if I can get in a position where, say for instance, this queen were on a5 and our queens were looking at each other, and there was only one defender of this queen, if I trade off the queens and the engine is totally fine with that, the best engine move, the number 1 engine move would be obviously to take back the queen, but the second and third best engine moves would be, who cares, something else, and I would just get to keep a free queen. So I literally think I just have to play a totally even game of chess, and over time it has to give me free stuff just by random chance. We're met with knight to c6. Now, to build off that winning idea, I could optimize. I could optimize by playing, I don't know, bishop to b5 and not capturing the knight until, say, something like d6 is on the board, which guarantees that there's only one single best move that wins back the knight, in this case, recapturing the bishop with the b7 pawn, and anything else just gives me a free bishop. So I'm going to actually play that very specific move. I'm going to play bishop to b5, and I think I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to play other moves, maybe bishop g5 and target the knight, until there's only one defender of this knight. We're met with pawn to g6. I'm going to go ahead and just castle my king right away because at the end of the day, it is Stockfish, and if for whatever reason we get a sequence of number 1 best moves, I don't want my king to have anything to do with them in the center of the board. Okay, we are met with knight to f6. Now, I think I'm going to play d3 and look for bishop to g5, since at least right now, there's only one defender on this knight. I'm sure eventually it's going to play bishop g7 and have 2, but I'm going to keep trying for these ideas, and again, eventually, one of these captures has to net me some species of advantage. Okay, we're met with queen to c7, which I'll admit is kind of unfortunate because now there are 3 defenders on the knight, which means if I ever take this, the best, second best, and third best move are almost guaranteed to be all of these 3 captures, so I'm kind of incentivized to just not even take that knight anymore. I will continue, however, with bishop to g5. Actually, it's just occurred to me, I could also play bishop c4. Since this bishop doesn't serve any purpose threatening this knight anymore, it would be quite funny for me to play bishop c4 and then take on f7. Because obviously the best move is king takes f7, and the second best move, rather the only other legal move, is king to d8. Just to be clear, in that specific instance, obviously there is no third best move, so it's not even part of the equation, it just has to choose between the first and second best move. Unfortunately, I'm not really willing to risk an entire bishop just to see if I can win a pawn, because that's really the only gain that I get from that. So I'll continue with bishop to g5. Okay, we're met with pawn to d6, which is wonderful news, because now there's one less defender on this knight, so eventually if the third best move or something is like, I don't know, queen to a5, then I would be incentivized to try for this capture again, since there's only a 1 in 3 chance that it will even take back. But until that happens, I do still have this, which means I can now take this knight, and there is a 1 in 3 chance that it takes back, because obviously this is the best move, the second best move, and the third best move just can't be recaptures. There's no other way to take this back. Plus, I'm threatening the rook, so even if it like attacks my bishop, I'm just taking the rook for free. Okay, and we do in fact get rook to g8, so now we are just completely up an extra piece. I'm gonna go ahead and retreat the bishop, and I can continue to look for these ideas where if there's only one defender, I will take, and, you know, maybe try for even more material, but I am up a piece. Is that enough to defeat Stockfish? Maybe not. Is it enough to defeat Stockfish that has to pick between the 3 best moves? I'm pretty confident that it is. Okay, we're met with pawn to h6. I mean, I guess it's looking for g5. I can drop the bishop back, and maybe walking down the pawns is a scary idea, but I'm not super intimidated. I am still up an entire piece concretely. So let's just go knight to c3. There's knight to d5 ideas. Best case scenario, we boot the queen out to a5, and again, we walk into a position where there's only one defender on this knight, which as we can see is a very profitable endeavor. Okay, we're met with pawn to a6. I mean, I could take, but there's a 2 in 3 chance that it just takes back, and then I don't really walk away with any significant advantage. So I'm kind of more tempted to just drop the bishop back. That does welcome pawn to b5, in which case I drop back again. And then if I really can't force this idea of taking the knight, then I can at least take on f7 perhaps, which I would be incentivized to do because there's only a 1 in 3 chance that it takes back, but a 2 in 3 chance that it plays some other king move, because now there are 2 king moves available on the board, in which case I would just grab a free rook, and that has to be totally winning. Actually, so much so that I might just play bishop c4 right away. Okay, we are met with pawn to g5. I don't dare take, because there's a 2 in 3 chance that I get taken back, and then I just totally lose my material advantage. This is a little bit of a cramped move, but I do hold on to the extra piece, so I think I'll just retreat the bishop. Okay, we do get pawn to b5, regardless of the fact that I didn't play bishop to a4. I think I'm just going to send it. Because again, now with d6, there are 2 other legal moves that the king can make besides just taking back my bishop. So I can just take, I think, on f7. And again, it's not really because I'm so confident that it's not going to take me back right now. But over time, if I continue to play the odds, I should eventually walk away with a pretty substantial amount of material. And we do, in fact, get king to d8, immediately snatching up that free rook. We have a very large material advantage now, so much so that I'm pretty sure that even if I let it play all of the best moves, I think I would still win, because I'm up a piece and a rook now. We're met with pawn to e6, and you can already see it's not very keen on letting me keep the bishop. In fact, I might have spoken a little too soon on the concept of letting it play all the best moves and me still winning, because now there's queen to g7, which traps the bishop and immediately wins back at least the piece of material. I would still be up a rook, but it's not so concrete. Now, what I think I'm going to do is, because the king is in the center of the board and I am up material, I should be attacking. So I'm going to play pawn to d4, go for the center break immediately, and also it creates a whole bunch of new tensions, which I'm pretty excited about, capitalizing on. If it has to pick between 3 moves and only one of them, hopefully a recapture, is actually the best. Wonderful, we're met with knight takes d4. I'm looking for piece trades anyways, so I'll immediately take back. Plus, assuming it even recaptures again, there's only a 1 in 3 chance that it even takes back. Then I'll have the queen in the center of the board, and I can easily defend this bishop. Okay, it finally actually plays the best recapture, c takes d4. I'm assuming second and third best moves were probably like queen g7, and who knows what the third best move could have been. But this was definitely the best move. It doesn't really matter though, because I can simply take back. This bishop is very easy to defend. d6 is falling apart. The rooks can come into play. e5 is up next. A lot of really good ideas for me. Even queen to f6 here is wonderful. Oh, queen to a7. There's no way that was the best move, because that just allows a queen trade, which I will immediately take. I'm sure there were other ideas which would have been kind of interesting, but I'm up a rook and a minor piece, so I think I'd rather just go into an endgame where I'm up a whole bunch of material, and it's a pretty straightforward conversion from there. Oh wait, not to mention, there's only one way for it to take back, and there's a whole bunch of other legal moves that it can make as well, so I might just have an extra queen as well. Oh, bishop to e7! That'll do it! Queen takes, and this is just a totally easy victory. I mean, just out of mercy, I would allow it to play the second and third, or rather, just out of mercy, I'd let it just play the best moves moving forward, because this is just an absolute victory. However, I won't. I will let it continue to play the 3 top moves, because I do think it's kind of funny. Met with king to d7, but we just have so much material. This position is falling apart. I can just take on e6 if the king takes back. Again, if, because it's only one. That's only one of 3 legal moves. It does have this and this. It can also play. Then I'll just take the bishop, and I'm totally winning. Oh, that'll do it! King to e8. I can simply take this bishop. This is just crushing. Mate is certainly in a couple of moves. There's like bishop d6. It's stuck on the back rank. This is totally winning. Right, bishop to d8, there was nothing to think about there, that was a totally forced move, but now we have queen to d7, forces the king over again, no other legal move, and then queen to f7, which will be checkmate. There it is, king to f8, and with that, queen to f7, we do in fact defeat Random Fish. Thank you again so much to Felix for this idea. Again, I've learned over time that you guys have way better ideas than I do, so if you have any crazy ideas that I should try with Stockfish, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to try my best to make it a reality. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.